Hi Taurus, welcome to your November 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And if you're interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for all the information you need there. Alright, now we have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. You did get some extra cards that came up there, and then we also have a couple of oracle cards to take a look at after we get through the main spread, and a mudra card. So let's just get started. In the main situation position, we have the Devil. So on the surface level, this is the major arcana card for Capricorn, so you can certainly be dealing with a Capricorn. But another way this could be pointing, another thing that this could be pointing out to you energetically could be saying that you're really obsessive about something, really putting in a lot of work, and maybe feeling like it's something that you're obligated to do too, because obviously with the two people there, we see they're chained together. So, it could just be one of those things where you feel like you have an obligation to do this thing, but you're really putting a lot of energy and focus into it. And it could definitely be centered around your work life too, because right now we do have Mars going through Libra, which is your 6th house of work, daily routines, and health too. So for some of you, it could even be an obsessive habit that maybe you're looking at. Because we did have a full moon in Aries recently too, which is your 12th house. So it might have actually exposed some areas where you might have been, going through some addictions and possibly looking for ways to get around that or to let it go altogether. And the challenger obstacle position, we have the Four of Pentacles. So this is actually more Capricorn energy, and this is an energy to me of, not wanting to let something go. In a more positive way, this could just be someone who's given a lot of thought to where they're going to invest their time, their energy, their resources, sometimes obviously finances, right? If we just look at it straightforward, since it is Pentacles. So, but I'm feeling here in this particular case with the Devil showing up in the main situation, this can just be a situation that you're in right now where you feel like you don't have enough. So therefore you keep working, right? Because you feel like you don't have enough or that you never can have enough. So this could definitely be centered around finances for some of you, where you're a bit obsessive in that area of life. For others of you, this could be a connection you're dealing with as well, a karmic connection, and maybe it's saying that you might even know that it might be a bit unhealthy for you, but you're just having difficulty with letting it go. And like I said, with that full moon in the 12th, that definitely could have brought it to light, especially because that full moon made an aspect to Pluto, which is in the sign of Capricorn too. So that definitely could have showed where you might have some obsessions, compulsions. So could be what this is referring to there. But for a lot of you, I do think that this is on a more straightforward level regarding finances, and we'll get to why I think that's the case as we get a little further into the reading. In the foundation position, we have the Chariot card. So this is the major arcana card for Cancer, and I mean, you could see how the energy looks a lot different there, right? So this is your house of communication too, so maybe this is saying that you're thinking about communicating with someone, possibly taking a short trip as well. Now normally, Chariot could go either way. Chariot normally can represent long distance travel for me, but since this is representing your 3rd house, it can also be short distance. So maybe this is just centered around maybe a lot of you going home for the holidays. For example, if you live in the States in November, we're going to have Thanksgiving, obviously. So a lot of people obviously travel for that. And this being a card of Cancer too, that makes you think of home, family. So a lot of you could be traveling back home. So on a more positive end there, at the very least, then that might give you a much needed break that you do need if you really are just slavishly plugging away at your career. Maybe this is a much needed break that you'll get. But also keep in mind that this is where the North Node is right now. It's in the sign of Cancer. So maybe this is something that you need to communicate too. Maybe you're very closed off when it comes to communicating to someone as well. So that could be what this is centered around too. In the past situation, we have the Judgment card and the Two of Pentacles. So, we do already have, at the time of recording this, we have Mercury in shadow. And by the time, when I post this, it'll still be in shadow as well. But for those of you who do watch this in November, Mercury would have just gone retrograde starting in November. But given that this is coming up in the past, this could just be saying that even with Mercury just going into shadow in your opposite sign of Scorpio, maybe this is, since this is more Capricorn energy, this could definitely be a Capricorn some of you are dealing with, or maybe an Aquarius too. But this could just be saying that maybe this is someone from your past coming back around. Maybe it's a toxic connection, right? And maybe this is how it goes, right? It's an on again, off again thing where maybe, especially during the retrogrades, you might find that they come back around. And like I said, you might know that they're not healthy for you, but you still feel that pull toward them. So this could be you, maybe in the past they came back around and you were trying to decide, do I want to go down this road with them again? Yes or no, just trying to make a decision there. But again, for some of you too, this can just be pointing to that focus that I'm feeling a lot of you have on finances. So could have been some kind of a shift in the past where, you were trying to make a decision on how to handle your finances. Maybe some of you might have even experienced a setback in the past, and you felt this way as far as the juggling. So now to like overcompensate for it, like you're pretty much trying to make up for lost time, and maybe that's why you're putting in so much energy into your work life now. In the present position, we have the Four of Swords. So this is actually a card that represents the last 10 degrees of Libra, and technically at the time I'm recording that is the degrees that we're in. So especially since this is 6th house, and I'm getting a lot of a vibe for you guys that you're really working a lot. This can just point to some of you might have experienced a burnout of some kind. Maybe you ended up getting sick, for example. Because sometimes the body will do that. If you really are just putting in too much work into something, eventually your body can shut down on you. So, I don't see this as being anything too major. It's just a Four of Swords. But for some of you, this could also represent maybe you were recovering from something because, this comes after the Three of Swords. So maybe some of you did experience some kind of heartbreak. It's one of those things where maybe you went through a breakup recently, and now because of that, maybe you're overcompensating by focusing strictly on your work to keep your mind off of it, right? So this looks like it's saying one way or the other, or whether you actually go out of your way to go through this healing process, or you just keep focusing on other areas of life. It looks like this might just end up catching up to you one way or the other, but something to keep in mind there. In the near future position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And this is actually, again, to me, an indicator that you're very heavily focused on finances this month. What I always say with the Ace energy is it's more of something in the idea stage, because we see the hand coming out of the clouds, it looks like. So that makes me think of it's just a thought. It's not tangibly in your possession, but maybe you're coming into some ideas of how you can improve your finances. Like I say, you do have Mars in the 6th, so one way that could play out is you could be really evaluating your day-to-day routine, your work life, maybe some ways you could shift things around in order to see improvement financially. But the darker side of that too is 6th house energy. It's Virgo energy. It can be very critical of itself too. So you might be a bit hard on yourself. Like I said, maybe feeling like you don't have as much as you actually do, which could be leading to you, just continuing to put in more and more work, and maybe to the point where you're burning yourself out. And at the bottom of the deck too, before I forget to mention it, we have the Knight of Swords. And this is actually a court card of Gemini. And I do notice that for me, this card comes up a lot when we have a Mercury retrograde around. And to me, it makes sense because given that this is the card of Gemini and they're ruled by Mercury, I always note how the horse is moving, anywhere you would put it in the spread, it's moving towards the past, essentially. So to me, that makes me think of the Mercury retrograde, where Mercury, is essentially moving backward through the zodiac. So something to keep in mind there, too. So, you might feel like this sense of urgency around something that may not actually be there. So something to keep in mind with that. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Nine of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords. So one thing that stuck out to me when I was looking at these cards is the fact that all three of them have the yellow background, right? You see it there with the 9, the page, and the 7 of swords. So to me, it's saying that things will come to light. So you got to keep that in mind as far as, maybe like I was saying with that Ace of Pentacles, you're in this 9 of Pentacles phase right now, right? And you're trying to get up to this next level, which would be the page, but it feels like it's just out of your reach, right? Because I always point out that with the Page of Pentacles, the Pentacle looks like it's not quite in his hand, right? It's close, but not quite there. And then to me, with the 7 of Swords showing up there, especially that this is an Aquarius card, and for you guys, Aquarius is your house of career and social status. Keep in mind that, this could just be saying that be careful around taking any shortcuts or maybe even being flat out deceptive this month around finances because it can come back to you. Because, like I said, with that yellow background, is definitely sticking out to me. And that makes me think of things coming to light. So, I doubt a lot of you are on that side where you're doing something deceptive. So, whenever way this could play out, too, keep in mind that this can be someone in your work environment that can be controlling, and maybe they're the ones withholding money in some way, shape, or form. So, that could be another way it's playing out, too. So, if that's the way that it is playing out, if you feel like, okay, I'm stuck at this 9 of Pentacles place, I feel like the next level that I'm trying to get to is just out of my reach, you might actually find out this month about some deception in that area that might be leading to you feeling stuck. So that's the positive way it could play out. But like I said, do be mindful of, even if it's just, not anything with malicious intent, but you're just thinking about taking shortcuts. Like, oh, you know what, I'll just, I don't know, do half the reports this week and I'll come to the next ones next week, right? So little things like that where you could just be letting things slide and then it could just end up piling up on you guys this month. So just wanted to put that out there. In the environment position, we have the 5 of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So this is actually the court card for Taurus. So it's interesting that this came up in the environment. And then this is actually a card that represents the first 10 degrees of Scorpio. So if I do consider the fact that we have the Page of Pentacles showing up for you in your position, this can just be pointing all to your energy, saying that, you're just really disappointed that you expected to be at this King of Pentacles level now, right? And you're, in your mind, you're not even at the Page level. So that could be what's fueling that sense of urgency, right? Where you're really just trying to build up your finances obsessively so. Because you had this expectation that you'd be at this level already. You're not there, and you could be getting, frustrated, feeling disappointed about it. For others of you, it can certainly say that maybe you're dealing with another earth sign. That could be the way it's playing out, and maybe there was some disappointment there, either them toward you or vice versa. Trying to see if anything else comes to mind. And all right, well, this would be for a very small percentage view, but maybe this is where you portrayed yourself as being at this level, right? To maybe impress someone, and then maybe they're finding out that that's not really where you're at, right? So that could be a way it's playing out too. Maybe that's why you've been so obsessed, like, oh, okay, I put that energy out there, now I really have to get to that level. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the least likely scenario. This could even be pointing to, since I am recording this in mid-October, this could even be pointing to the new moon. That's going to be in these degrees of Scorpio, and it's going to be opposite Uranus in your sign too. So could definitely be some shifts there with relationships in one way, shape, or form. When we think 7th house, we always think romantic relationships, but it can just mean partnerships of any kind. So maybe this is just, like I said, for some of you, you could have been receiving false promises from someone in your workplace, like a boss, right? Like, oh yeah, if you do this, do X, Y, Z, we'll give you more money, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, right? And then you put in all that work and you feel like it's just not coming, right? Like they're just not actually giving you what they say they would. So that can be the way it's playing out for some of you. All right. Now, In the hopes or fears position, we have the 10 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords. So these are not good energies to see together, and it's interesting to me that we have the 9 of Pentacles along with the 7 of Swords, and now here we're seeing the 10 of Pentacles with the 5 of Swords. These are, the 7 and the 5 are two of the tougher sword energies out there. It's another Aquarius energy here as well. So this could definitely be around career. So maybe some of you in a really competitive work environment, maybe whatever field you're in, let's say maybe it's some kind of commission-based thing or something like that, and you might feel like, okay, obviously you'd be hoping to get to the 10 of Pentacles, but you might fear that, someone's going to basically make shortcuts to get ahead of you, right? So that could be what it is. Maybe you're just in a very tense work environment where you feel like you can't trust the people around you. That could be what's at play there, and you feel like in some way, shape, or form they're doing something behind the scenes to hold you back. Like I said, if that is the case, that really sticks out to me, that 7 of Swords energy there with all three of these cards coming up with the yellow background. Something might come to light this month around that, so just keep that in mind. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Moon and the 8 of Wands. So given that this is actually in the outcome position, the first thing this is making me think of is the new moon at the end of the month, because this is the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius, and that's where that new moon will be. It'll be, I think it's a couple days before Thanksgiving, and a new moon is actually going to be a pretty positive one. At the time of that new moon, Venus and Jupiter will be conjunct, and you guys are ruled by Venus, so having it conjunct Jupiter can actually help in that regard. And then also, the new moon will be trining Chiron in your 12th house. So if it is some kind of an addiction or just some bad habit that you've been trying to shake, that new moon towards the end of the month could really help you guys out with that. And it might also bring some things to light for you guys as well regarding, finances from other people. So like I said, if you feel like there are, most likely for a lot of you, it'd be something related to the workplace where maybe you feel like they've been withholding money from you in some way. You might receive some communication and clarity around that towards the end of the month. So definitely something to keep in mind there. And that would make sense too, because even though Mercury will still be in shadow towards the end of the month, it will come out of retrograde. So by the time of that new moon, Mercury will be out of retrograde too. So like I said, if there's some kind of partnership issues, whether it be romantic or otherwise, where you might feel someone's been withholding assets from you guys, you might get some clarity around that towards the end of the month. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First, we have Breathed. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 29. So let's see what this has to say first. But if nothing else, that already makes me think of, like I said, be careful about burnout with that 4 of Swords energy and the devil in the main situation. So let's see. It says patience, waiting, going slowly, wellness, meditation, trust. The Oracle's message: patience in all things is called for right now. What do you need to do when you're in a rush? Slow down, of course. Meditate and trust. Breathe and repeat. Humans cannot exist without drawing breath. Now is the time to allow the life-giving element of air to replenish your body, your being, and your very essence. Stop to smell the roses, breathe in the sunlight, and release the darkness, and miracles will appear. So it's interesting where it says release the darkness in particular came to me, because like I said, we see the devil, obviously the darkness speaks for itself with that card, but then the 4 of Pentacles is that reluctance to release it. So hopefully you guys got some confirmation with that message there. And then the miracles appear, that could be pointing to the Chariot energy too. All right. The relationship message says, don't be in too much of a hurry right now. The heart needs time to open. Take a breath and let nature take its course. Release constriction and anxiety, for there is no need for tension. Savor the moment, and the waiting won't prove difficult. Your heart knows what the ego often resists learning. Patience pays off in deep and meaningful ways. So, to be fair, that could be how it's playing out for some of you too. Maybe with that Nine of Pentacles and then seeing the Ten of Pentacles in the Hope position. Nine of Pentacles is often an energy of being single, and maybe this is you now deciding that you might want to be in some kind of commitment, and maybe you're getting a bit obsessive about that, like, okay, why am I not in a committed relationship yet, right? That could be how it's playing out for some of you. And then the prosperity message, says you have worked long and hard, your dreams are coming to fruition, and you want to hurry things along. You are the slow one moving languidly, yet still progressing right now in a rhythm dictated by your authentic nature, the essence of your dream, and the will of the universe. Slow and steady wins the race. You will indeed win if you relax, stay the course, trust your intuition, and breathe. So that's another interesting message there too, where, like I was saying, with the obsessive vibe that I was seeing there, and then the Nine of Pentacles, thinking about the Page energy and being disappointed you're not at the King energy. Maybe that's just emphasizing that, you are making progress. It might not be at the pace that you're hoping for, but it's just saying that, the slow, steady progress you're making will get you where you want to go. And maybe that's what that Knight of Swords energy is pointing to as well, saying that, you're really just in a rush for whatever reason to get to the end goal. And, you're not seeing the fact that you are making steady, positive progress in the meantime. All right. Then next we have Porcupine Spirit. It says, time for beginner mind. There's the actual artwork, and the number is 48. So we'll see what this has to say. Okay, it says, when Porcupine Spirit calls your name, you are being asked to adopt the beginner's mind and to approach situations with innocence and curiosity. The old, confining stories no longer have a hold on you. Life is full of surprises hiding in plain sight. Looking at the world afresh with new eyes can help you find what you've been seeking, whether it is a relationship, an opportunity, or evidence that you have all you need right now to co-create what you desire. Who knew? Porcupine asks you to be playful and have a childlike curiosity. There is so much waiting for you that you have yet to discover. So, interesting message there. And what stood out to me, where'd it go? Can't find it. Oh, it says the old confining stories no longer have a hold on you. So that could be what the devil energy is pointing to as well. Maybe some beliefs that you've had about success and, money and whatnot that you might have held on to for a long time, and maybe it's saying that they no longer serve you. And the Chariot energy in the foundation is saying that, it's time for you to move forward from that. So hopefully that resonated with you guys as well. And finally, we have a mudra card for you. So the mudra you guys got this month is Prana mudra. There's the actual mudra itself, and the keyword for it is vitality. So already sounds like it might benefit some of you if you are feeling a bit under the weather. But let me just hold this up for a bit. So if you guys want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say, you can. And then not everything fits in the frame here, so I'll just move it up so you can see the rest. But yeah, it says increases overall vitality and immunity, activates the body's self-healing potential, benefits the eyes, improves digestion, assimilation, and elimination, decreases the body's susceptibility to injury and disease, improves concentration, strengthens willpower and stamina. So that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you. I'll also put the name of the mudra in the description of the video if you wanted to look into it a bit more. But we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.